Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take what feels like a chaotic wave of daily headlines and turn it into a clear, structured look at exactly what's happening around the world right now. I'm really excited to dive into this with you because today's global landscape is moving incredibly fast. We're seeing these massive collisions between traditional statecraft, cutting-edge technology, and honestly, some truly bizarre cultural moments. So instead of getting overwhelmed by all the noise, we're going to cut straight to the facts and connect the dots so you can see how these massive global events are actually taking shape. Here is our roadmap for today. We're hitting 1. Global flashpoints and conflicts, 2. Diplomacy on the world stage, 3. Artificial intelligence legal battles, and finally wrapping up with 4. Sports, architecture, and oddities. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Global Flashpoints and Conflicts. We're mapping current tensions. When you look at the sheer scale of the geopolitical chessboard today, it's honestly staggering. We've got massive standoffs happening all at once. In the Middle East, the US and Iran are sitting at this historic tipping point, with President Trump reportedly discussing continuing a blockade on Iranian ports for months. That is a massive squeeze on an already struggling economy. Then look over at Europe. The war in Ukraine is grinding on. Vladimir Putin actually scaled back his Red Square military parade, while at the exact same time, the EU just approved a staggering $106 billion loan package to help Ukraine. And jumping back to the Middle East, the Israel-Gaza ceasefire process, it's completely stalled. Gaza is holding its first elections in 20 years, but get this, only in one single city. Meanwhile, we're seeing satellite images showing widespread destruction across Lebanon. And this US-Iran standoff isn't just political posturing, it's directly choking off global trade. Visual data shows that traffic through the incredibly vital Strait of Hormuz has literally shrunk down to a trickle. Plus, the European Space Agency's satellites are picking up something wild. There's basically a lawless, floating gas station out there where Iranian oil is secretly changing hands. These physical blockades are sparking massive, unregulated shadow economies right out on the open ocean. So the crucial takeaway here is how deeply interconnected and devastating all these conflicts really are. We're talking layered, overlapping tragedies. Just 2 months ago, a strike hit an Iranian school, killing 168 children, and the search for accountability is still ongoing. In Israel, the military actually redeployed a battalion that had previously been suspended for assaulting a CNN team. And the diplomatic webs, they are getting so tangled. Ukraine is actively accusing Israel of aiding Russian trade in stolen grain. Think about that for a second. Further east, North Korea's Kim Jong-un is memorializing troops who died fighting for Russia. Oh, and down in Africa, Mali insurgents are pulling off complex al-Qaeda-linked attacks on military bases. If you rely on global supply chains or just general stability, this tangled web of conflict proves that modern warfare really knows no borders at all. Moving on to Section 2. Diplomacy on the world stage, navigating fractured relationships. So how are leaders handling all this? Well, it's a very delicate tightrope. On one side, we've got leaked comments exposing some serious friction between President Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. It actually got so intense that the British ambassador to the US bluntly stated that America's only true special relationship right now is, quote, probably Israel. But right alongside that tension, we have the ultimate royal olive branch. King Charles is stepping in, taking on what people are calling the toughest mission of his entire reign. He's set to address Congress directly, strictly to emphasize the deeply rooted, shared history between the US and the UK. We're also seeing diplomacy play out on a more spiritual level. Pope Leo is walking his own moral tightrope right now. He's explicitly condemning Iran's killing of protesters, but simultaneously drawing a hard line, saying he absolutely cannot support war. And he's maintaining this highly watched neutrality while on this incredibly joyous, well-received trip to Africa. The media kept trying to bring up his recent political friction with Trump, but Pope Leo made sure to tell the world point blank that their little spat is definitely not the focus of his journey. Now here is the real kicker. All of this diplomatic tap dancing is happening against one staggering number, 16. Military spending across Europe and Asia has just surged to levels we haven't seen in 16 years. So while the ambassadors chat and the monarchs hand out olive branches, national treasuries are quietly prepping for worst-case scenarios, pouring money into defense budgets at rates we haven't witnessed in over a decade and a half. Let's pivot to Section 3, Artificial Intelligence Legal Battles, the tech giants in court. While physical borders are being heavily contested, the future of tech is literally being fought over in the courtroom right now. the biggest players in AI are slamming into unprecedented legal and regulatory brick walls. I mean, Elon Musk just spent 2 grueling days testifying in a lawsuit that experts believe could alter the entire trajectory of AI development. At the same time, OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman, are staring down an incredibly emotional, complex lawsuit from the families of the Tumbler Ridge shooting victims. And it's not just civil court. China just stepped in and flat out blocked Meta from acquiring a Chinese-founded AI startup called Manus. The global battle for AI dominance is completely bogged down in red tape right now. But here's the massive contradiction in how these companies are operating. Even with these tragic, super high-profile lawsuits hanging over them, like the Tumbler Ridge case, these AI companies aren't slowing down for a second. In fact, OpenAI is actively pitching to embed its absolute most powerful technology directly into government defense systems to fight hackers. They're playing defense in court, but total offense in the halls of government. It really shows just how indispensable they believe their tech is to national security. Let's shift gears entirely for our final section. Section 4, Sports, Architecture, and Oddities, the Micro and the Bizarre. This is where things get a little strange. Gambling has permeated our culture so deeply, it's showing up everywhere. We just saw ex-NBA player Damon Jones become the very first person to plead guilty in a massive gambling sweep that scooped up over 30 people. Even in college sports, Texas Tech's quarterback Brendan Sorsby just had to enter a treatment program for a gambling addiction. But sports betting isn't even the wildest part. Right now, France is actively investigating suspected tampering with actual physical weather sensors. Why? Because people were placing massive financial bets on the weather using a platform called Polymarket. Betting on the weather, it is a wild new frontier. And the appetite for all of this is completely bottomless. It's driving serious physical expansion in the sports world. The NCAA March Madness tournament, already this massive cultural juggernaut, is looking at potentially growing to 76 teams by the 2027 season. The sheer demand for sports content, and obviously the betting that goes right along with it, is showing absolutely zero signs of slowing down. On a much more cultural note, stepping away from the courts and the betting rings, we do have moments of pure creative brilliance. Chile's Smiljan Radic just captured architecture's absolute highest honor, the 2026 Pritzker Prize. It's basically the Nobel Prize of Architecture. And this massive win is happening exactly as fierce debates are sparking worldwide about the scale and cost of global infrastructure projects. Speaking of those massive projects, how about $2.3 billion? That is the proposed staggering price tag for a brand new stadium in the 2032 Olympics host city. So while top architects are winning awards for visionary designs, city planners and local taxpayers are literally going to war over these astronomical costs. It really forces the question, is the prestige of hosting a global event truly worth a $2.3 billion gamble? We are ending our oddities section with a number that you just can't make up, 80. An Indian billionaire heir has officially offered to swoop in and save 80 of Pablo Escobar's notorious cocaine hippos. These invasive animals were actually slated to be culled in Colombia, but now international billionaire wealth is crashing headfirst into legacy cartel ecology. Honestly, it has gotta be the strangest rescue mission of the year. So, wrapping up today's explainer, we're left with a pretty fascinating question. We've jumped from massive macro conflicts choking off global trade to the delicate dance of international diplomacy, to tech titans battling it out in court, all the way down to weather tampering and hippo rescues. Between the intense geopolitical shifts and these bizarre cultural oddities, what forces are truly going to shape the years to come? Keep asking those questions, and I'll catch you next time as we continue making sense of the headlines.